We're good to go. I believe we're good to go. This is a bad song. I should go back and rewrite it.
You should.
Yep, just you know. Sounds so bad.
I am trying to share.
No, it's all good. So we're getting ready to get started here, folks. In just a brief moment, please do me the great honor and privilege and, you know, the white privilege of sharing the video.
The white privilege.
Yes, that's exactly what we need. And, you know, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, like I was saying before we started clicking record, is I'm just... I've kind of got the hipster look down, so now I'm going to try a little something different. I've got the jeans and t-shirt look down.
I cannot pull off the hipster look.
Yeah, I think you could if we. I think we can make
way too big.
You know, I'm thinking like the skinny jeans.
I can't wear, dude. My fucking ball sack would like
we'll get you
protrude to the point where I've got like cut off my circulation. It's just not possible.
We'll get you the skinny jeans that hang down like you sag, so we have to tighten the belt around your like upper thigh.
I sag?
No, we'll make you sag.
Okay.
So that your balls aren't crushed, but you still got that hipster look, and we'll just get you an extra long t-shirt to go down, you know, and we'll get you some kind of hipster underwear that like look old school underwear, where you kind of got that gangster but also hipster look going on.
I'd probably look better some Richard Simmons shorts.
Richard Simmons shorts.
I think we've established that on one other show.
Some kind of spandex look, you know, sweating to the oldies and shit. Yeah. Like that would be amazing.
Sweating to the oldies.
Well, let me know when you're done sharing, and we'll
hop on in.
Christus from YouTube says, Anthony Hipster.
That's just, I mean, that would look so funky. I can't even begin to tell you, dude.
All right, are you ready to rock and roll?
Man, I'm ready to get this thing going.
I believe
I've got a lot of shit on my chest. I need to divulge.
That's all good. We'll get time.
There.
So tonight we discuss the latest drop in the crypto markets. Anthony gives us an update on the Drunken Cheater story. Hence, the waves have already started splashing. And we also ask the question, is our military done for? You be the judge with the latest 2021 Army recruitment video. All that coming up tonight on the Unframe of Mind show.
You're listening to the Unframe of Mind show, the place to have the most mind-stretching, unprotected, intellectual intercourse of your life. Your hosts battle the forces of evil by lobbing fiery balls of truth, reason, and evidence over safe room walls.
And welcome back to another episode of the Unframe of Mind show, where we have uncomfortable conversations without sans condom.
You gonna butter my bread?
Yeah, I'm gonna butter your bread.
Butter my bread.
I'm your host, Daniel Wagner.
Anthony Treywick.
And we are back again, having a great time. It's been a freaking hellaciously busy week, so I'm kind of looking forward to just sitting back, relaxing, and chatting with you guys.
Have a cup of tea.
And just to let you know, we're going to be having a live, private, group member-only Zoom call, and we will be posting the link for that in our Discord channel. Yep. That link is in the description below. So stay tuned for that after the show. And if you're not in our Discord community, make sure you've done that. So that way you can get the link in the announcements channel. But before we get into our main stories, we have something that's been really, really bothering us lately.
Yeah.
Really bothering us lately. It is
faux business. Faux business. Faux business.
And today on the Phobismist, we need you guys to understand how offensive toasters are. Toasters. Yes.
Is it the bread or is it the toast?
No. We'll get to bread eventually, but for now it's the toaster in and of itself, because the issue I have with toasters is that toasters, they facilitate cultural appropriation for white bread. I mean, it's basically what they do. They facilitate cultural appropriation for white bread. I mean, you think about it. I mean, you got white bread that just needs to be comfortable in who they are, you know. And then the longer you leave it in, the worse the problem gets.
Because it gets darker.
That's because it gets darker.
I didn't think of that.
Right.
Like the blacker the bread becomes, the more problems you seem to. Wow, that sounded bad.
That was not.
Okay, good night, folks.
Yep, that's the end of the Unframe of Mind show as you know it.
I didn't even think about that. Wow.
No. I mean, but that's not the only issue. I mean, if that was the only issue, we might be able to overlook it. We might be able to go on with our lives without work, But it's much worse than that even. Okay, and the problem is it actually has more to do with the fact that there's so many people out there that are already super high in anxiety, and when you have a toaster suddenly pop, that sudden pop at the end. You get people that are just, I mean, look at this. Even cats. Look, that poor cat has been scarred. It won't even go near that toaster anymore. And he knows something's up. He knows something's wrong when he goes to try to, and it's like, imagine if it's doing that to a cat, if it makes a cat jump 6 foot back off the countertop, can you imagine what it's doing to your Aunt Edna? When she comes in there in the morning, she's just like, hey, I would like to have some bread that's been culturally appropriated a little bit. A little darker, a little darker, not a lot darker because, I'm not an animal, So she puts down her bread and the next thing you know, pop, Aunt Edna is sitting back 6 foot back from the toaster. She's probably crashed into the kitchen table. It's like a movie scene. The coffee table's shattered. There's books everywhere.
Shit goes everywhere.
Yeah. And then she's scarred for life. And next thing you know, she's having like these flashbacks and dreams and you know what I'm saying? It's really rude, and I think we really need to have a softer speaking toaster. Something that doesn't startle people quite so much.
I think they've come out with those now. Where it kind of eases up a little bit, and so it's not so spontaneous, and God forbid we would ever want anybody or anything spontaneous in our life. That's just not good.
No, I need my toaster to announce to me, your toaster is about to pop in 3, 2. And then pop in the middle of 2 and 1 just to really give me a startle. Anyway. Buttons. Get it together, buddy. All right.
What happened to that new thing we were supposed to start using? Where's it at?
Oh, that's a whole, I'll tell you about it later. But anyway,
okay.
One of the things that's happened this week, and
right.
We've been talking about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. Hey, how it's going way up. It's like 50,000. It's 55,000. It's 57,000.
Everybody's jumping on that bandwagon.
Everybody's jumped on the bandwagon.
Excited and
over the last week, I think I've lost more money than I've made this year.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even going to discuss my.
No, but that's just the thing. That's what we're here to talk about. Is there's a lot of people that are falling into that they're using their emotions. Mm-hmm. They're watching the crypto markets tank,
but it's
all of a
hard
sudden,
not to. Even for veterans that have been invested into crypto, and I haven't been invested as long as you have. You've been in it for the last 10 years. For me, it's been about a year, but. Here's the thing, though, is anytime you start to see the value of what you invested go down more than, I don't know, 10 grand, it starts to make the stomach turn just a little bit. And that's perfectly fine. But it's how you react to this situation that is going to really tell the signs of how you're looking at crypto, in my opinion. As
of the recording of this episode, one Bitcoin is currently going for $37,472.95.
Now, if you think...
that's actually gone up quite a bit since this morning.
Well, it was at 42, I think, 2 days ago. But, the point is, though, is we were sitting at 64, which is the highest it's ever been, I think, about 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Ether topped out at like 42 or 4,300? Which was the highest it had ever been as well.
Right,
all the altcoins were doing phenomenal. My Litecoins were blowing up, and it's just I was loving life. I felt good. I was like, I'm making a lot of money here, and my Ether's gone up, and my Bitcoin's gone way up, and and then all of a sudden, it all started with that downward trend, which, in my opinion, Elon Musk kind of got that ball going. I don't think he's solely responsible. But I do think that he was the driving force in that pushing that rock down the hill,
right?
So to speak.
No, he's one of many driving forces. And let me, and for anybody that's not been paying attention, let me just lay out kind of the general, because it was a multi-prong hit. Honestly, Elon Musk was one of those prongs that hit.
China is another.
Elon Musk goes out and he announces, "Hey, we're no longer accepting Bitcoin, but we're going to hold on to our Bitcoin." And meanwhile,
says the man that uses billions and billions of gallons of rocket fuel.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then recently we had Janet Yellen of the Federal Reserve, I believe, who had basically announced that interest rates are, we might have to start raising interest rates, guys. And, not saying we're going to, just kind of like hinting around and alluding that we might have to raise interest rates, in which people go, oh, God, that's no good. We're all going to die.
Yeah.
I don't know what the economy would do if all of a sudden all the interest rates finally started rising, but that's another thing. And then you mentioned China. China is
the
now
restrictions.
they're once again. It seems like every week China's like, "Hey, we're gonna go ahead and restrict crypto."
And then a couple weeks later, it's like, okay, we decided to change our minds.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, the market goes back up.
The markets respond every time. Everybody freaks out. And you know what? I bet you I would be willing to bet if I'm China and I see this happening, I'm like, watch this. Y'all ready to buy some more crypto? Watch this. We're gonna ban crypto now. Oh, look at those idiots all jumping off board. And as I spoke with you about earlier, these drops are a great. I view them as great things because it kind of gets the weak-minded, the idiots out of the pool. It kind of makes it kind of puts all the money into the hands of the people who are going to be the most responsible with it.
Yep.
And that's what you want in the society. And unfortunately, we've got a fucking government that's battling us constantly, trying to put money into the hands of idiots. And as a result, we get an idiot for society. We get people, having children that should not be having children because they're being rewarded for doing so. Bitcoin doesn't do that.
Right.
Bitcoin is hard cash. On or off. That's it. No questions asked. It doesn't have emotions. It doesn't have feelings.
Well, and when it comes to you have what is called dip soldiers. What are the people that basically buy?
Is that like
dips.
welfare queens?
Yeah. But it's people such as you and I that know when to buy into the dips that keep it from dropping further down.
Right.
So when you have a large group of people like you and I that are continuously buying in the dips, that's what elevates Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies back up to where it needs to be. Not where it needs to be, but higher than where it was. And with that being said, you have a lot of people that start to see the market go down, and then all of a sudden they freak out, they panic, and they pull out. Which, hey, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. I'm still holding on to all of my assets. I think you've recently sold a little bit, but you bought back in during one of the dips. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, actually, I was kind of proud of myself because normally every time I try to guess what the markets are going to do, I'm wrong. I'm just wrong every time.
Well, that's cryptocurrency. It's volatile.
It's not just cryptocurrencies. It's just I don't know how to read technical charts. I don't know nothing about it. That's an area that I'm not very well versed in.
Right.
I understand that emotions have a major play in the market, but I don't know what people are going to do. And every time I try to guess, I'm wrong. And it's fine. So basically my strategy is always just, dollar cost averaging. Buy the same amount every week, no matter how much it costs, no matter whether it's up or down, just keep buying the same amount. If it's my investment strategy, that's what I would do with my 401k. Every week, same amount comes out of my check, goes into 401k, goes into the stock market every week. So it's basically the same pattern. But anyway, what I did is I went ahead and sold about half of what I had in one spot. Half of what I had in one spot, which is, a decent amount. I took it over, I sold it, and then watched the price drop, and I was like, oh, goody. But what was interesting for me is the emotions that I was experiencing. I was more nervous to lose the amount of Bitcoin that I had than I was to lose my US dollar. I'm sitting here watching the US dollar amount of my Bitcoin drop, but I've still got that same amount of Bitcoin regardless of what the dollar amount is.
Right.
So I don't care. I just want to have more sats, which is Satoshis, which is the smallest unit of a Bitcoin you can possibly have, which is a zero. It's zero rounded all the way down to the 8th decimal place. 0.0000001. That's a Satoshi. And it's really, really, really small. But I started seeing the price go back up, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't want no. And I kept watching it where I don't normally watch it.
Yeah.
Usually you're calling me and saying, hey, have you seen what's happening? I'm like, no, I haven't even paid attention. But I bought in, and I was so happy because I made an extra 150,000 Satoshis.
Wow.
Which isn't a lot dollar amount, but in the future, 150,000 Satoshis.
Adds up.
In the future, 150 Satoshis could be quite a bit of money. That could be quite lucrative.
Well, something I've learned, and I know that you're not a fan of Robinhood. However, there is some perks to actually using the app.
Right.
And Robinhood offers something that Coinbase, and I think others do not, and that's a limit purchase. Okay. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
So basically what it is, you have money in your Robinhood account when the value of, say, Bitcoin or Ether drops to a certain point, it automatically buys it for you.
Yeah.
So I've got mine set where if it drops to a certain point, okay, all of a sudden it throws it in there. But then I also, as soon as that happens, I go back in and set a limit to sell.
Right.
Because what I'm allowing myself to let the market work for me, where I'm not having to constantly, stress about the market, watching it going up and down all the time. So what I do is I set that limit to sell it 3 times the value of what I've invested in. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So if
it's a strategy, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and it's worked for me, and I've made a substantial amount of money, especially during the whole Dogecoin escapade that was going on. I ended up making, what was it, off of $200? I ended up making close to $1,000 just off of Dogecoin, right?
Right. Damn.
That's profit.
That's more than
and I still have
Dogecoin.
quite a bit of my Dogecoin left. But I'm also doing this with Bitcoin, and I'm also doing it with Ether, right? So I bought Ether back when it was around $1,500. And what I did was I ended up selling it once it got up to, 28? And then went back into my account, my Robinhood account. Then I reset it again for when it goes back down to.
Keep going.
Oh,
keep going.
Keep
going.
Oh, well, I just saw a blank
you're
screen.
Good. Keep
So,
going.
anyways, so the money goes back into my account, my Robinhood account, and then all of a sudden, I'm just sitting there like, okay, I'm going to set a limit for $2,800 or $3,000. And that's just, I'm constantly going back and forth. Now, it does take some time to show your hard work as far as the way you invest, but it's paying off.
Right. Yeah, I say KuCoin has a similar feature called the trading bot that I can set low and high limits, and it'll just sit there and constantly trade back and forth for me. Without it's automated. I set the limits and then just let it run.
The reasons why I'm bringing this up is because if you have a lot of people that are new to cryptocurrency, and you are stressing about, the current dips and, the bubbles and so forth, this is a way to not let your emotions dictate the outcome of your money that you've worked for and that you're wanting to invest in. And if you do it right, you can still actually make money even when the market is down. It is possible. So it's just something to really consider. And right now, this is actually a really good time for folks to get invested into cryptocurrency. You don't even have to spend a lot of money. If you've got an extra $100, throw it into several lower cost cryptos.
Right.
Not everything is at the price of Bitcoin at what was it, $37,000 or $35,000. Not everything is at
nothing's at that price.
Well, yeah, I know, I understand. Well, Bitcoin Cash, but even then, it's like Ether. That's actually more reasonable to invest in because it's not as expensive as Bitcoin. Meaning that $2,600, man, it kind of makes you feel better when you start to see that price go up, and then all of a sudden you're 75 cents from, or you're 25 cents from actually a full coin.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, damn, this is not bad. And, with Bitcoin, it's going to take a while to get there.
Well, this article from Krista over in YouTube here, she posted this for us in our Discord. It says, CEO, a top Bitcoin exchange, warns a crackdown on cryptocurrencies may be coming.
We've been hearing this for a while.
Yeah. This was written April 12th.
Yeah.
So this is over a month ago. So there's so much that's happened since. But yeah, like right here it's saying, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and other officials have warned about the use of cryptocurrencies for illicit transactions. Jesse Powell, CEO of Bitcoin exchange Kraken, said there could be some crackdowns on cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies have surged in value lately, with Bitcoin hitting a record high price of more than $61,000 last month.
But here's the thing, though. This is something we constantly hear throughout the news cycle. Every couple of months, you'll get articles like this talking about how they're going to crack down, because part of the reason the governments don't like that they have no control over this. There is no one individual
that's the beauty of it
that has control over Bitcoin.
That is the beauty of it.
you have a lot of governments trying to scramble around, trying to figure out how they can really do something about it. They can't.
Yep.
And
now here's the thing. This like we were talking about earlier. This has kind of been a multi-pronged attack in terms of the cost of Bitcoin going down suddenly. Mm-hmm. And you got to think that the elites are smart. The rich, they're smart with their money. They know what they're doing. They know the strategies that work. Mm-hmm. And when you put people in a panic and you make people think they're going to lose all their money, well, dumbasses sell. They go ahead and just sell. Yeah. And they don't hold on to their wealth, and they freak out. And what happens is, well, the wealthy come back in and they buy the dip. So what would be the strategy here? You all kind of get together and kind of, whisper around, friends and whatnot, and you kind of hint around and say, hey, we're going to kind of, make it seem like the price is going down. We're going to announce that we're going to block cryptocurrency. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And it just kind of has this effect, this overall effect of causing it to drop, and it makes a perfect opportunity for the rich to get richer and the poor to get poorer.
Yep.
And everybody wants to blame the government, and everybody wants to blame the
you need to blame yourself for emotionally driving.
But nobody wants to blame themselves and take responsibility. And this is what crypto does. It really puts the responsibility
on the individual.
Absolutely. Yep. And if you can't be wise with your money, a fool and his money are soon parted, is what they say, right?
Yeah, and it's something I've mentioned here recently, that is, I think that a lot of people need to take their time to do their diligence and really study and understand cryptocurrency. Mm-hmm. This was something that I was bored to death with every time you brought it up on the show. And then over the last year, it was just like I started to really kind of look into it.
Yeah,
I did my homework for several months. And I was constantly reading articles. Hell, I was sending them to you. And the more homework you do, the better understanding.
You were like that new vegan or that new CrossFit guy that just.
Oh my God! No, but I mean, but it's true though. It's just it takes a little bit of time to understand it.
Yeah.
The market's going to be there, so when you're ready to invest and you kind of have a sense of what you're doing. Yeah. You're going to be a little bit more careful. You'll have a better understanding of the market, how volatile it is. You'll understand the difference between stocks and crypto.
I heard a really good description of that. We're right now, as far as the U.S. dollar, as far as that, it's like we're in the Titanic's just hit the iceberg, and the smart people are already kind of making their way.
Stefan Molyneux.
Yeah, the way that they were talking about in that podcast is they're starting to make their way to the lifeboats now, and it's like I kind of feel that way, like. I've been in the lifeboat just kind of patiently waiting for the thing to go, belly up. And slowly but surely people are going to start to figure it out. That something's wrong. Something's terribly, terribly wrong with the US dollar. And they're going to want to find somewhere to go, right. And right now that lifeboat, I mean, we couldn't have asked for a better opportunity, because otherwise we were just all going to drown. If this Bitcoin cryptocurrency thing didn't come around as a potential lifeboat to get off on, we'd all just drowned.
So do you think this was a crypto correction right now?
Yeah, definitely think so. Hang on, let me turn that off. Go ahead.
What are you talking about? I don't hear anything.
Keep going.
No, I was just gonna. So yeah, I mean, when you're talking about cryptocurrency, one of the things I was gonna tell Daniel before he had to go fix the audio was that. Hang on. You're good. Yeah, I mean, I remember calling you, and I was freaking out. I was losing my shit.
That shit threw you off big time, didn't it?
Well, again, this is if you go back and you watch a previous episode we had done, we had discussed that I was very leery about taking an X amount of money,
right,
investing half of that into, or close. I wouldn't even say half, probably a third, into crypto. And my concern was that could I potentially lose all of this? I'm not going to lose all of it. There's a difference between me being down versus me losing it.
Yeah, in comparison to what the U.S. dollar's
correct
worth.
But because I still have everything in my accounts, I haven't lost physically anything.
Yeah.
As long as the market goes back up, I'll recoup what I've invested. And then at which point, that's my decision whether or not, okay, if I break even, I can go ahead and pull out, or I can just continue to let it sit and then see what happens. And if the market does go back up, then I can start doing that limit buy and limit sell and kind of get back into the playing field.
Well,
So
at the risk of getting too far in the weeds, I'm going to go ahead and make sure we hit the other topics that we have tonight. But
that's fine.
Yeah, is there any other thing you want to hit on that topic before we head off? But
no, and if people, I let me just reiterate the fact that if you're not familiar with crypto, please be very careful with your money. This is money that you've worked for. Consider your family, consider your bills. Don't be stupid about this. Cryptocurrency is no joke. You can lose a lot. You can also gain a lot. This is not the stock market, so don't treat it that way. This is a market that does not close, and when you're in bed, you can lose potentially thousands of dollars.
Silly Redhead says, I lost $20. Yes, you may have lost $20 worth of USD, but you have gained the world. That sounded very Pollyannish. That's cool.
You're liking this Pollyannish word, aren't you?
It's a great word.
You used it last week.
It's okay.
Look,
I'm allowed to use words more than once, okay?
No, I understand that.
It's
but
fine.
You get on this kick of... Well, minutia was the word that you were running with for a couple of weeks. Yeah,
I noticed in all of my podcasts for a while, the political and cultural milieu, the word milieu was going around all of my podcast I was listening to. I was like, y'all just found a new word. Y'all going to try it on? It's fun. You learn a new word and you want to use it. It's like a new toy. Like a boy who just hit puberty and just discovered.
But do you think there's an overuse of that word?
No, not yet.
Oh, dude, come on.
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
But that might just be because I'm a little Pollyannish on it, All right, so there was. I wanted to show you this. I thought you may enjoy this, and I think we'll wrap the show on your relationship waves.
Yeah.
For the update,
the ripple effect.
Yes, the ripple effect. So I wanted to show you this. This is this is a new military recruiting, army recruiting video that just came out recently, and people are going apeshit over this. I want you.
What was the like to dislike ratio? Well, go back. Minimize that. Yeah. Yeah.
The like to dislike ratio. We're looking at 3,000 likes to 55,000 dislikes.
Oh my god!
It's just hit over 1 million views, and it came out on the 4th. So and they had to turn the comments off. They had to turn the comments off on it. It was so bad.
Wow. Okay. Let's see how cringeworthy this one is.
All right. Check this out. This is now. Imagine you're the military and you're trying to recruit people, and this is what you came up with. This was your marketing.
I want to be all I can be.
This was your marketing plan. Okay. So here we go. I skipped the first little bit because it was just kind of intro stuff, but
it begins in California with a little girl raised by 2 moms.
What?
Emma in the sand.
Although I had a fairly typical childhood, took ballet, played violin, I also marched for equality. I like to think I've been defending freedom from an early age.
Are you kidding me?
When I was 6 years old, one of my moms had an accident that left her paralyzed. Doctors said she might never walk again. But she tapped into my family's pride to get back on her feet, eventually standing at the altar to marry my other mom. With such powerful role models, I finished high school at the top of my class, and then attended UC Davis, where I joined a sorority full of other strong women.
Let me ask you: Are you feeling like you want to go join the army yet? Are you feeling like that energy?
Man,
that I got to do this?
The army is really just reaching for this one. Jesus Christ!
Let's continue.
But as graduation approached, I began feeling like I'd been handed so much in life, a sorority girl stereotype. Sure, I'd spent my life around inspiring women, but what had I really achieved on my own?
You're in
college.
Come on,
One of my sorority sisters
man.
Was studying abroad in Italy. Another was climbing Mount Everest. I needed my own adventures.
Go
my
find
own
your
challenge.
dad.
What?
And after meeting with an army...
She want to find her own adventures. Go find your fucking father. There you go. Be all you can be.
Where is the father in this scenario,
I found it. A way to prove my inner strength, and maybe shatter some stereotypes along the way.
She jumps down a wall and she's a badass.
I'm U.S. Army Corporal Emma Malone Lord, and I answered my calling.
What calls you? Apparently not your father.
Bro, I mean, that is such a far cry from, like, you know, I went and brought this video up here. These are old ones from, like, back in the 70s and 80s. I mean,
okay,
let's look at the difference between, like, you know, because I'm trying to do something a little different, because when I've heard other commentators speaking on this subject, they compared it to, like, Russia's or China's recruitment videos. By the way, they're going to fucking crush us if this is the level of...
Oh, we just showed how weak we were.
So, you know, this is the kind of videos we're getting...
This is the Army, where just 2 years can really pay off.
You know... I mean, we're showing women in there. We're showing, like, all, you know, dudes and
skill.
Black guys, and
you get to travel and grow.
Cultures,
and with
you know,
Uncle Sam's help, you can get
still...
up to $7,400 for college, all in just 2 years. Your Army recruiter can tell you how to qualify.
Wow, he said $7,400 for college.
Keep playing it.
This is the Army, a chance to serve your country as you serve yourself. Call this number toll-free.
So that's,
no
you know.
experience, no job. I could do that job, but who'd give me the chance?
Army,
Army.
Air Force, Marines. We don't ask for
Oh, yeah.
experience. We give it. You won't read it in a book.
And they're showing the trades that you can learn.
Basically, it's showing the value proposition they offer. Like, hey, we can teach you these skills. You don't have a job, we'll put you to work. You know.
Right now, the one thing you want most is an opportunity.
This is the one I remember.
In the Army.
See, now look even back then, they're still showing all the different cultures and whatnot. You know, showed an Asian woman, a black guy. You know, maybe they're token black guys. I don't know, but at least they're
either
in there.
way,
they're showing them. They're still representing.
They're making it about the Army, not about somebody has two moms. Not talking about the difficulties of life and the absentees of a father. I mean, this is so reaching, and then March for Equality, and
yeah, it's like, what the hell, man?
You know,
and think about that though. You know, I'm in the Army already, and I'm representing a certain type of individual that's brave and fight for my country. Like, isn't that supposed to be what the Army is all about? You know, you're supposed to be brave and fight for your country, and you're supposed to do your patriotic duty to your fellow man. But what are we seeing in this?
I think Forrest Gump would be really disappointed to see what the Army's turned into. To be honest,
like that was like right here. We just saw that shot, that badass shot of a tank launching.
Mid-air. Look at that. Wait, hang on. There it is.
Yeah,
Firepower, people power. That's teamwork.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That part, seeing that tank, just
thermal sight, laser rangefinder.
Dude, this makes me want to sign up.
I know, like.
Yeah. All that you can. We win. The whole tank wins. The whole team wins. Not just one person.
That kid had to have been like 16.
But dude, this is, I mean, legit. Like, if I saw a tank flying in midair, that's badass shit, dude.
I'm like, I want to do that.
But instead, we're talking about a woman in her, you know, marching for equality, and
and my mom was in an accident, and you got the heartstrings being tugged, and like, what the hell are we doing?
The Army has become just a pussy recruit's what it's become now, and I don't mean a sense of a female, but just.
It's just I thought you might enjoy watching that and just getting a. I just wanted you to get a sense of kind of where our military goes, and I'm sorry.
Why do people have to be so woke, and they have to virtue signal to people? I don't get it, man.
Well, I'll tell you what. It really gives me a sense of just how far out of touch our military has gotten. I mean, you think about this. How woke is your organization now that somebody thought this was a good idea?
Badass Army like China's is not going to give a fuck if your parents are gay.
Like in your marketing department, somebody thought about this idea, presented it. Other people then looked at it and said, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do that. And then we went through the trouble of animating it, getting people to play the parts and speak the parts. We edited it. There were so many people involved in this, and nobody at any point said, hey,
well, do you understand? This isn't having anything directly towards Emma or her mom's. To me, it's just, again, it's everything that we've seen in society right now.
Was her mom's? I don't think.
No. I know. It was just fun to do it. I like the little bunny ears. But it's like they didn't have to go into this whole story or this whole spill about, being liberal. That's basically what that was. Hey, if you're liberal, come join the army.
Right. Well, hell, they figure they've already got the Republicans joining the military.
Here's the thing, though, is you're not going to win a war with a bunch of dildos. It's just not going to happen. And, you need strong people in the army. Mm-hmm. This is weak-minded, in my opinion. And
yeah. I'm just trying to think, what kind of person is this going to encourage to join the military? Who is going to watch that video?
A bunch of soy boys. And
no, I mean, think about it. Even if it was targeted toward a specific demographic, in this case, little girls of lesbian parents, like, how many of them are actually out there looking to join the military?
It's not even that. It's
join
like
the military, that it was worth the expense to put together this production.
But here's the thing, though, is again, we're leaving the father out of the equation, just as much as we've left the father out of black homes, mm-hmm. Back in the 60s. So it's kind of, to me, it's like, why do they keep wanting to not include the father? Yeah, what is so bad about us?
Honestly, out of all the times I've heard this spoken about, and even watching it myself, that didn't even cross my mind. But you're absolutely right. Is the fact that the father's not even a part of her equation in any way?
No,
like, it's not even brought up. Like,
well,
I mean, you even could have brought it up in there. Hey, maybe my dad was in the military, and talk about your lesbian mom. I don't care, but I don't know. That seems like it's a missing puzzle piece.
It's becoming a missing puzzle piece over the last probably 5 to 10 years. Is that we're seeing the father figure pushed completely out of the picture to the point now to where it's like we don't even exist. And to me, it's just I don't know, man. I think that's what's kind of the wrong way of thinking. You're forcing us to accept the fact that this woman Emma has got two mothers. You might as well go ahead and do this where it's where they got two fathers. But there hasn't been anything where it's a mother and a father. Why have we gotten away from this?
I could tell you, but you're not gonna like the answer.
So,
Do Better Challenge says if they had it 100% their way, everyone would be in the army. Good little order followers. Dude, come to think of it, that's a pretty good point. Think about that.
I would just want them to bring back the draft.
Think about this.
Fuck a lot of people
in the latest pandemic, you have a very clear sense of which people would be good order followers, and those order followers, the ones that are just going to do what they're told without question, tend to be those that also wear the masks everywhere they go.
And
they
in
get
the car
the vaccine.
by themselves.
They do what they're told. Like, honestly, that might be brilliant. There might be some actual smarts to this now that I'm thinking about. Thank you, Chris, for that, Mr. Do Better. That's great. Think about that. All right, we got a bunch of mask wearers out there. They follow orders. Let's make a commercial and let's get those people in the military. I mean, we need some fodder.
Casualty count is going to be high.
Hey, we need fodder for the front lines. Let's make it happen. Let's put them out there. Little Ragamuffin says, "Call me old-fashioned, but our military should not be filled with women or anyone who acts like a woman. At least not in the front lines. In the office or background, sure, but definitely not in combat." To which Krista responds, "I know some badass women that could handle the front lines too." Yeah, I would say between soy boys and badass women, I think there's a lot of overlap.
You've got some women that would straight up kick a dude's ass, especially the
probably
soy boys.
whoop my ass. I'm just saying, but that's not really the discussion we're having today. We're having.
I mean, there are some women out there that will knock off them skinny jeans because
I'm all for equality. If a woman wants to join the military, then by all means.
Oh, I don't give a shit if a woman wants to join the military. That's not the point behind this. That has got nothing to do with what we're discussing. And it's the fact that they want to constantly keep pushing this ideology that we must accept. It's nobody gives a shit if your parents are gay.
Think about this.
Bro, go sign up, leave us alone, and go do what you got to do in the military. I don't give a fuck if your parents are gay. I don't give a shit if you're marching for equality. Shit, like that. To me, that doesn't make you a better person. You're throwing yourself out there to be accepted by the masses. I don't give a fuck what you do. Sorry, Charlie, but this doesn't float well with me. It's just
totally understand. I totally understand.
But when you constantly, want to cram this shit down my throat, I'm gonna give you the big middle finger. It's like you don't need to keep doing this crap, and that's the problem that we're constantly seeing is that they want to continuously just drive it down our throats, dude. And I'm like, fucking stop.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, it's nonstop all the time. I mean, I get the sentiment of it and everything, but it's like I still go back to the fact that our military has been infiltrated so much with this bullcrap ideology.
Here's the thing I don't like about this cartoon. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm looking at it. When you think cartoon, you associate that with very young kids.
Mm-hmm.
Very young kids are very impressionable. You are also giving the illusion that, kids at that age are very impressionable. So they're gonna think that accepting, 2 moms is appropriate. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you have a lot of families out there, you have a lot of people out there that don't agree with this lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. I'm not gay, so I don't agree with that lifestyle, but I will support my friends that are. There's a difference. But when you have a cartoon like this, you are signaling to a very young youth to say, hey, this is acceptable. Is that appropriate for them to do?
That makes sense, actually. I didn't even consider that insofar as
they're targeting a very young age.
Yeah, not only are we using cartoon imagery, which does tend to appeal to younger audiences.
This is propaganda, believe it or not.
Oh, no doubt. But what you're also saying, and I get what you're saying, you think about the vast majority of people that join the military tend to lean to the right. I mean, let's just be fair. I mean, they tend to come from the Bible Belt. I can't remember the number, but I know it was a lot, and most military servicemen and women tend to come from the Bible Belt of the South, are right-wing individuals who more than likely disagree with the lifestyle of, homosexuality.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't really matter what you and I think. I could care less, but you make an excellent point that is something that you're basically, the very military you're serving is now taking a stand, a political stand, no less, on the subject matter and putting it out there in a commercial and making it more acceptable and accessible for the general audiences, which I would say if you're sitting there serving in the military and you feel a certain way about it, that really just hits you. It's like a slap in the face. I could put myself in that mindset to understand what that might feel like to somebody who.
And you already have a lot of people who want to cram down the throats that, the whole transgender thing.
Yeah.
And you often hear the horror stories about the transgender and letting kids let kids figure this out at the age of 6 years old. Most kids don't even know what the fuck they're doing halfway through the day because, they're kids. And again, this is just, to me, this is not okay. And I often wonder, like, what other countries, when they see this, how much of a kick they're getting. This is an embarrassment, dude.
It feels like China wrote it for us. They had to have just sent us a screenplay or what have you and said here.
The military is meant for people of a different life and a different culture. And what I mean by that is that you have to live a life in such a way where you have to potentially kill someone, and you have to be mentally okay with that. If you're not sound in the head and you can't be okay with that, or find yourself in conflict where you're possibly going to see things that are going to, disrupt your mind for years on end, that you'll have to get some sort of mental help for it.
Yeah.
And if you're confused at a young age, whether you don't know if you're gay or not, the long-term mental effects to this is what I'm more concerned about.
Right.
So when you're starting to target an audience at such a young age that doesn't even know, mommy, why does mommy, daddy, why does, Emma have 2 moms? You should not have this conversation with your child. Not to me, it's not appropriate, at least until they're 15 or 16 years old. But before that, for me, it's just like, no, why are we doing this? Why are we forcing people to accept this and have this conversation so early on in life? Why?
It's a good question. That does bring up a lot of good questions. I want to hit a couple comments before we shift gears here. Krista says, so for me, these commercials, ads, shows, and they do seem to be trying to cram down our throats, doing the same thing that parents do to their kids when they use their kids as pawns. And
again, this is not. We're not attacking the woman Emma or her lifestyle.
Yeah, right.
We're going after the way people want to. For some reason,
it's a weird strategy. It just doesn't make any sense. I can't imagine that anybody would watch this and feel like, yeah, I'm going to join the military now because of Emma's story. This is inspiring to me to join the military. Like, I could see Emma's story be inspiring for some people, for some things.
Yeah.
But the goal for these commercials is to recruit people to fight in the armed forces. Like, that's the goal here. And nothing about that commercial to me says, hey, that's exactly what I want to do. Because the
old videos show combat. They're showing conditions in which more likely they're going to have to endure.
Yeah.
That video has nothing to do with that.
And even in that video of Emma, all it showed was her like doing training. It didn't actually show. Did it show any kind of her actual combat or?
They spent more time talking about gay shit and trying to, I guess, stand up for women and women becoming powered, and
it's
and I'm like,
it's just woke shit, man. It's
dude,
totally
come on.
completely.
That's not the Army doesn't give a shit about equality. It does not give a shit about your two moms. It doesn't give a shit about her having an accident or whatever the case might have been. The Army does not give a flying fuck. Now apparently they do now because they're putting this content out, but it also kind of makes me wonder the direction in which our Army is going. And like I said, are we going to end up going to war with a bunch of dildos and spatulas? I mean, that's just kind of the direction that this seems to be going.
No, that's a negative. I think what's going to happen is we're just going to hire or create more robots to automate the certain things that men and women do because they can't get any people to come in the door anymore.
If I saw this and I was potentially on the fence about wanting to sign up for the military, I would say, this is a joke, dude.
Yeah,
this is an absolute.
Yeah. You want to fight? Would you want to fight for a military? That's the question I want to ask the audience here. I do want to ask the audience:
no,
is this the kind of question? Would you fight for a country and a military that's putting out this kind of propaganda to try to recruit you? Would this inspire you to join?
Okay, and here's another one. Would you want to join the Army knowing that somebody that's supposed to have your six signed up purely off of a cartoon animated equality, I've got two gay parents? Because let me tell you something, I don't want that person watching my six because they signed up for the wrong fucking reasons. The military is meant and designed to defend our freedoms. This is a bloodbath. This is something not to take lightly. This is combat. You don't get a restart or a do-over and you get to spawn back to where you left off at. This shit is fucking for real.
Yeah.
This right here is going to get you killed.
It didn't give me a sense of any of the reality that you're going to encounter.
No.
Like
this is the
those
problem.
other ones, like I still have the image of the tank doing like ramping over that's awesome. But you're seeing them actually in a combat scenario where they're aiming at other tanks and they're doing battle, and you get the sense that yes, this is and it's always kind of been a glamorization thing in war. Like you always try to make it seem like it's more glamorous than it really is. And a lot of people who throughout history have gone to war to do their duty, and they want that romantic kind of thing that goes with military, goes with fighting for your country and having the war stories to come back and tell for generations to come.
Can you imagine that in your platoon you have people that signed up because of this video? They have no knowledge of the background of the level of carnage that could possibly come their way. I mean, yeah, the Army is supposed to train you for this sort of thing, but here's what's going to happen. You signed up because you watched this little fairy tale cartoon about two moms and this chick named Emma, and then reality is going to smack you in the fucking face when you get there, and then you got 9 weeks of boot camp, and and you can't. This is not what you thought it was.
This is not it at all.
you know, and that is very misleading. But even say if that said person gets into the military, I still don't trust that this person's going to have my back. I would much rather somebody from the deep south that's willing to protect their family and friends, that over some fucking bullshit cartoon. I'd rather have that person have my 6 than this bullshit.
All right, we're going to wrap on this comment right here. They won't make it through boot camp. It will end up like cringy American Idol.
I'll give it.
You remember when American Idol used to do the bad
the auditions,
the bad auditions,
the bad
and
auditions.
the people that couldn't. That's what it's gonna be. The people coming into boot camp who saw this commercial and they're gonna make a show out of it. Actually, that's brilliant. The military could make a lot of money right now.
My grandfather,
because they're definitely short on money right now.
Yeah. My dad has served in the military. Both my grandfathers have as well. My dad's dad, he served back in the 50s. He was stationed out of Hawaii.
Yeah.
And then my grandfather, my mom's dad, he was in the Vietnam War, also in the Korean War, Bronze Star winner. Or Bronze Star recipient, I should say. Mm-hmm. I often wondered because he did 3 ground tours over in the Korean War. He was highly decorated, you know, when he was in service, and of course after he retired, and then he passed on years ago. Mm-hmm. But I often kind of wonder, like, if my grandfather was still alive and he saw this video, like, I wonder what his reaction would be.
It'd break his heart. It'd break his heart.
I mean, it's just the man did 3 combat tours on the ground in Vietnam or in Korea, and he also did, you know, he served over, you know, the Vietnam War. And Vietnam War was considered one of the deadliest wars that we've ever been in the conflict with.
Right.
So knowing what my grandfather has seen and what he's gone through, it's just, this goes for a lot of us that have got grandparents that served in the military, and just kind of wondering what their thoughts would be if they saw something like this.
Just feels like a total slap in the face.
I mean,
it really would.
The beaches of Normandy. I mean, you can go as far back as you can, and this is also an embarrassment to them. They fought, like they bled for this country.
Somebody's losing their job.
They bled for
Somebody's
this country.
Somebody's got to lose their job over this.
And they didn't bleed, and they didn't lose their lives, and they didn't receive the medals that they did for bullshit like this.
Right.
They're rolling over in their graves right now, dude. This is beyond me. So
speaking of rolling in the grave,
right.
That was a terrible transition, but we'll just go with it. So this episode was called "The Crashes, the Waves, and the Collapse." We've already talked about the collapse of our military and the crashes in the Bitcoin industry, but now I want to cover the waves that's been going on in your personal life. We just for a quick update, if you guys will go back and watch the Drunken Cheater episode, where Anthony kind of laid out a story that had happened to him recently about some very close friends of his that he'd been friends with for years. And he spoke on the potential ripple effects that's going to cause throughout his social circle. Well, lo and behold, you fucking called it.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing ripple effects.
Yeah, so I talked to you recently about the direction of which the show is going to go. And I just want people to understand what's coming on this show here soon. I have been through a lot. Like, I've done a lot for my friends. I have felt like over the years I've been taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. I felt like I'm the one that's constantly making the effort to go and see my friends. This is what we discussed. Make time for them because, I do have a family.
Right.
So I try to juggle my friends and my personal life. And I make that effort to do that. To call people or text people or, hey, let's go do this or, hey, let's go do that. Plan things and so forth. And I've helped a lot of my friends over the years. So when you're constantly taken advantage of and people do you wrong, you kind of built up this level of, I wouldn't say, it's resentment. And I'm going to get to the story here in a second. I just kind of want to give people an idea of where kind of where I'm at.
Right.
Psychologically and just mentally and
we got some interesting stuff coming up here.
So
pretty soon.
I over the last couple of weeks, I've had to really reevaluate my friends. I've had to reevaluate just my life in general and what I'm doing with my life when it comes to my friends, but also with my family.
Right.
I'm in a season of my life where I had to finally I'm finally going to have to start speaking up and exposing things for what they are, because right now I am mentally not in a good place.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty fucked up in the head right now because this has been brewing for years. And I think what happened was with this last situation, I think it toppled everything. I think it finally pushed me over that deep end.
Like the first domino finally fell over.
Just finally fell. And now it's a domino effect. It's a snowball that you can't stop. And here's the thing, I'm not going to let it stop. So over the next couple of weeks, I'm exposing friends. I'm going to talk about my family. And I'm going to talk about every single thing that people have done to me. Now, I've gotten some pushback on that. They're like, well, you're not perfect. Well, no, I'm not perfect. The one thing that's missing in our society is personal accountability. And this is something that we often discuss on the show.
Yep. I
have held myself very, very accountable for the things that I've done. You know, when people have asked me if I've cheated before, yes, I've cheated. There's a lot of things that I look back at my life and I understand that they were wrong. But because they were wrong and I can admit to it, I can learn from it. I've grown because of it. Right. I'm in a different place in my life to where morally I understand now more than ever, this is what's right, this is what's wrong. If you're going to hold me account to something I did 20 years ago, that you're stuck there. I'm not. I've moved on. I'm trying to better myself. So in the process of bettering myself, I have to reevaluate my friends.
Yeah, and that's something that a lot of people will do in your life is as the more you try to better yourself, the more they'll continuously try to drag you back down, because that means that the other alternative is they actually have to work on themselves. It's much easier just bring you back down than it is to actually improve on themselves. So they'll sit there and be shitty to you.
So I'm kind of in this state of mind right now where I have zero fucks to give, and what's going to happen is that every person that's ever done me wrong, this is for me my way of finally just starting to talk about things. Everything from the Hurricane Harvey donation drive and the few people that fucking did me wrong, you know, from the relationships and marriages that I've been in, that the people that have cheated or emotionally had affairs on me, you know, all the way down to my mom and all the way to my sister, and you know, the situation with my dad. Like, I need to finally say something. Mm-hmm. Because people think that it's okay for them to treat me the way that they do, and I'm just supposed to accept this sort of behavior with no repercussions towards them. No, that shit stops. And that's what I'm saying. I think the whole situation that happened currently was just that
kind of seemed like an eye opener a little bit, the way you were talking to me. Like it was just it was your final straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. Right. It was the one thing that, like, you said, all right, I see what this is. And I'm sitting there thinking about, you know, times are getting tough, and you're going to need to keep your friends close. Your enemies closer, they say, but you know, you got to make good connections with trustworthy people that have values, that have moral principles, because to have people around you that just kind of just float like a leaf on the wind on the moral, you know, ocean, you're not going to feel comfortable and confident that you can trust them in a tense situation. Like, if shit goes downhill, are they going to be the first one that's going to narc me out because they, you know, they're just going to do what they want to do? You know, you got to, I don't know, there's some bigger picture here at play that I'm trying to bring into this a little bit. But
no, I just think that the very moral fabric of what should be is no longer there, meaning that the trust, the loyalty, the commitment that we ought to have to our friends and to our family, the mutual respect is no longer there.
Yeah. Mutual being the key word there.
We think that it's okay to talk to other people in a certain way. You know, the one thing I've learned about me just by this whole situation is that, you know, I understand, we discussed this before, that I'm very, I'm brutally honest almost to a fault, but how did I get here? I got here because of the way people have treated me over the years. I know myself well enough to know that I don't want to be this person. And that kind of leads me to what happened today. And last time on the show, we kind of discussed the ripple effect that I didn't want to happen. If certain things were done, if certain people had apologized, or had that discussion with a friend of mine that was inappropriately touched or, contacted, all of this would have gone away.
Yeah.
You handle your shit.
Yeah, you take responsibility for the shit that you've done wrong.
Right. Like I have over the years.
You make the apologies. You humble yourself and recognize the fact that you're not perfect and you made mistakes.
Yeah.
And people will forgive you if you actually put in the effort to be forgiven,
Well, and that was my biggest concern because, again, as we spoke once before, the friend of mine involved that I've known for close to 30 years, I was trying to protect. I didn't want anything bad to happen to her. And I even sent her, a message telling her that people are going to find out about this. Now, she thought I was going to go run and tell people what was going on. I never did.
No,
what I meant was I'm going to be placed in certain situations where I'm going to have to correct this. I'm going to have to tell people, hey, be careful. This is what I've been going through.
Yeah.
I recently received a text message. It was today. I was out at the lake and I was fishing. I'm going to have to try to be careful with this because we are live and I don't want to give any names away and I don't want to give any, people are going to figure this out. But I had received a text message from somebody in the music industry that had extra tickets to a concert for tomorrow night. Mm-hmm. Right. One of the perks of being involved in the music industry over the years is that I have a lot of contacts that tend to do that, at the last minute. And, he's like, I've got 12 tickets. I want you guys to come out, see us. It's a big event. It's a really good thing. But the very next text message that I got was, can you ask those?
Yeah. Ask the drunken cheater and his wife
if they want to
come along.
If they want to come along.
Yeah.
I kind of looked at my phone and I'm like,
Yep. This is the moment. What
this
do I do?
Is not.
Now you're put in a position.
We just talked about this last week, dude.
Yeah.
The ripple effect.
That was fast, actually.
Well, I did not expect to hear from him.
No, not this quick.
Usually when I the people I know in the music industry, when they get in touch with me, it's usually for social events. This is where I do a lot of my networking with people in the music industry to help with a lot of the charity events that I do put on.
Right.
Or when disasters happen, they tend to step up and want to help people in need. Mm-hmm. This has been kind of the correlation between me and the music industry after I got out of it many, many years ago. So for me, I love building those relationships. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons why I love it so much is because I respect the hell out of the artists and producers and the people in the entertainment business.
Right.
And it's fun. We get along. It's personal, but yes, it's also professional. But when I'm sitting here reading that text, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what to do here because she has me blocked and I didn't know really what to do. Like I didn't know. And here's the thing. I have a moral responsibility to my friends, especially people who have a bigger social circle than I do, because the last thing I want to do is jeopardize those relationships that I've built for so many years.
Right.
Because I hate to say this, but without a little bit of their help, a lot of the things that I've done in the community service area would not have happened because of their involvement. They just, they have the financial, I have a very good reputation within my community and surrounding Nashville areas.
It's like you have a good thing going here. Everybody's cool. Everybody's gets along. We're doing some great things in the world. Right. And then you have a couple of assholes,
So it's
like a turd in the punch bowl. That stuff, you can't get that out.
It's my reputation. This is 20 years of my life that I have built.
Right.
That a lot of people have come to know, and a lot of people have come to respect that I do, and I've always kept that integrity. I would lose that integrity if I don't make people aware of what's going on, because I don't think it's fair to them to me not say anything and then those individuals still come around, right, knowing their behavior is not acceptable. I could not live with myself, and I'm not going to sit here and put on this fucking fake facade in front of people that I've known for I've known this person, this artist, my God, close to 10 years. And he's got some pretty big hits. He's got some chart-topping songs.
Yep. Moving on.
Sorry. Well, I'm just trying to, like, this is the ripple effect. This is how far this has now gone, because this is personal. My relationship to those in the music industry is also personal, but it's more professional.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, when I had this, I told him, I said, man, I said, give me a call. And I didn't want to do this.
Mm-mm.
I did not want to have that conversation with him.
But you knew you had to, because you were
I was left no choice but to have that conversation.
Yeah, like it's like, dude, these people you thought were great people, turns out they're really not, and I can't let you continue believing that they are, because if that he found out that you knew this whole time, what's that do for you? You know, what's that do to your
that
relationship? That
destroys
with him?
my relationship with him.
Yeah, he comes to you saying, "Bro, what the hell? You know, I'm finding out you knew about this the whole time."
Yeah,
like,
and
how could you do me like that? Like, I'd be upset.
He's a good friend,
Yeah.
and you've met him.
Mm-hmm.
I think the one time.
Yep.
And I could not hear. This is what we discussed on the prior show, was that I cannot sit back and not say anything. And the potential of the drunken idiot to speak in such a way. To possibly his significant other. Because if that would have happened and it came back and they found out that I knew that he'd been doing it to other women, that would have further complicated things.
Yeah, because then hell, the drunken cheater might have been coming around your musician friend's wife.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just
I know. See, here's the thing about your heart is you're also trying to even though you're exposing, so to speak, you're also kind of trying to protect their identities, to tell the story, because the story needs to be told in terms of the dynamics in relationships and whatnot. And I wonder how many people are out there who feel very socially isolated and can't understand why nobody wants to hang out with them. Mm-hmm. Maybe they have a significant other who is kind of a shithead and nobody wants to hang out with you guys. Yeah. Like I've heard this quite a few times, like, hey, you're a great person, but your wife, we don't really like her.
Well, the purpose of
and most people aren't going to say that to your face.
No.
And you almost wonder how many events you don't get invited to because of your social circle and the fact that nobody wants to invite that social circle into their social circle.
Right.
And it's like, y'all need to get straight with your friends and family and make sure that the relationships you're valuing and putting up above everybody else's are the right ones, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It's just, again, this was a situation that has really kind of put me in a perspective to really reevaluate my friends, my family, my life in general. Kind of the general sense of where I'm going here.
It's like you're taking stock for the hard times to come.
Yeah, taking stock, but really just dissecting like other areas of my life that I've kind of turned a blind eye to, because I try to want to see the good in people, but that doesn't seem to happen all the time. But kind of going back, it's to me, when we discussed this last week, it was like I stressed so much that I didn't want this to get out of hand.
Yeah.
Now, the reasons why I'm sharing the story, and I plan on sharing others over the next couple of weeks, is because I hope this is a learning lesson for people that are listening, or they can share it with somebody that they know is going through a similar situation. But that's just it, though, is loyalty, just honesty and respect. Those three elements are gone in our society. I don't see them anymore.
Integrity would be a good...
integrity, it's another one. And it's, why have we letting all of these morals and responsibilities that we should have to those individuals, why are they falling to the wayside?
Because people aren't suffering the consequences of their actions, and they're not being made to pay the price for the shit decisions they make.
Yeah.
And a lot of those decisions are being supplemented, rewarded, even protected.
Right.
You know, there's just so much of that going on that the moral stuff just kind of becomes like, you know, you're only going to have a few people actually do it who feel like inside of them that's who they need to be.
I just feel like nobody has any values anymore.
Yeah.
That's just kind of where I'm at, man. I mean, it's...
Well, people do. It's just, you know, you got to be a lot more selective about who you actually become friends with or keep, you know, hang out with and be friends with.
Man, I tell you what.
It's tough, but, you know, obviously we know, you know, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
It's what you do with that imperfection afterward. Like if you screw up, like what kind of person are you? Are you the kind of person to avoid and not encounter and not address the issues? Or are you the kind of person that makes the necessary apologies, talks to the people you might have hurt, makes things right?
Right.
You know, that says a lot about you too. You know, how you actually handle those imperfections.
Well, and it's something I've kind of discussed with a few others, is that I got a feeling over the next couple of weeks, by the end of this bloodbath, that I will expose a lot of people.
Yeah.
This is going to be a very just lonely little journey to the top of this mountain. I'm gonna end up finding myself up there alone.
I'm thinking for the grand finale. I'm thinking for the grand finale. You tell me how. You tell me how much of a shit person I am. You storm off the camera and you leave the show permanently, and that's how we wrap.
No, I just I know what's about to happen. I know what's coming, but you know what? I'm gonna be better for it. I'm gonna get this finally off my chest. I think that by the end of it, I will be in a better mental state of mind. At least I hope. This is kind of like watching Dr. Phil. Although you're not bald, well, I mean, you're getting you're better looking than Dr. Phil, and you're better dressed too. I do like the vest. You mentioned something earlier about getting me in a vest. Won't ever happen. I got man boobs out the ass. It was like, you know, these perky little things.
Actually, form fitting.
I'm talking about me.
Very nice. You should try it.
No, I'm not doing it.
Get you in your little flip flops, your shorts, your cargo shorts, and a vest.
Dude, I live in this stuff.
I know you do.
Like, I'm perfectly matched.
I'm still impressed that you said you dressed yourself in the dark and came up with this.
I did.
Like, that's impressive.
I know. This is like...
Somebody's like, you have a guardian angel. And that's, if there's ever any evidence, that's the... So, listen, if you guys want to join us for the after show, we're going to be dropping that link for the Zoom call in our Discord channel in the announcements section. Feel free to hop in there and join us and have this conversation, and then we'll continue the conversation there.
Note to self, don't tell Anthony super secretive and never cross him. You know, it's not that you can't tell me things. I can keep a secret. It's just the way that I've been treated. It's the way that I've been done. And I think we all kind of...
don't be a shithead.
Don't be a shitty person.
Yeah.
Straight up. Just be a good individual. Understand that. If you're a good person and you do good things, that will come tenfold. And that's the thing that I tell people all the time. This is not hard to do. Just like marriages and relationships, you know, we're all given those choices. You know, nobody put a gun to your head and said that you have to cheat. Nobody said that you had to do this or you had to do that.
It all goes back to just treat others the way you want to be treated, really. I mean, this is a simple
and
thing
it's also,
we've been taught when we were like 4.
Right, and it's also to point out, too, that when you start to see you've got to notice the red flags. I have not noticed them until my 40th. You know, I'm in my 40s now, so it's like I am just now grasping the understanding of all of this.
That seems like a great topic to take to the private call about red flags. What do you think?
Sure.
All right.
You just want to wrap up the show.
It's
after 9 o'clock.
That too, but that actually would be a great jumping off point for that conversation. So make sure to grab that link in the announcements channel. And listen, if you guys want to come on the show and discuss some issues like this, these are the kind of things that I think will do a lot more in helping people grow and become better individuals than half of the political shit we talk about.
Well,
as fun as it is, you know.
my shitty circumstances, well,
there's lessons to be learned, and
yes,
you know,
and please, I hope anybody out there takes, if it's just one person that takes one little minute thing that I've said tonight, you know, and implements that in their life, then there's been some, you know, there's been some good that comes.
Or maybe somebody
so.
hears this and turns around and apologizes to the person they did wrong. You know, maybe that's awesome. That's awesome.
That, but yeah,
could be. All right, y'all have been watching the Unframe of Mind show, where we have uncomfortable conversations without a condom. this has been a good one, and we've had a fun time tonight. I look forward to seeing you guys in the after show. And until next week, we've got a special guest coming on from Jan 6 Attack, I believe.
Yeah.
I think we still have to make sure to confirm that. But I have a left-wing guy that is willing to come talk. I've already spoke with him on the phone. He seems like a real cool guy. He believes in universal health care. I know, weird, right? But, it's cool. And we're going to get along fine. So stay tuned for that conversation.
Plus,
next week,
we're going to be taking a small little break from the show.
Yep, that'll be coming up as well. So,
and
then,
we'll
get into more details about that in the next couple of weeks. But
okay.
Taking our normal summer break time. There's changes coming, new stuff, new things.
I thought you wanted to talk about it. That's why I brought it up. So
no, not just yet. I did, but anyway, sorry.
All right.
See ya.